here we are, ladies and gents. This is actually only the third round for Liereyy, and we have one other day of casting left. So on that day, we'll be seeing Liereyy twice more. Liereyy comes in to his third round, 4-2, and he still has Yo, and he still has MBL to play. So that's pretty crazy. I'm excited to see that. Dark, on the other hand, in the blue. Dark has played his 4 rounds. He's been on schedule, and we just looked at it. If Dark wins 3-0 here, which is going to be a tough task, he's not only safe, he's probably in the playoffs. But if he wins 2-1...
very much. That would be a great accomplishment for him.
It'd be huge. Yeah, but like the 2-1 result is iffy. So it's tricky. He messaged me yesterday, T-West. He said, hey, like, what are my chances? I sent him the little table that has the results, and he just came back. Yeah, he just said, I need 3-0, and with a frown. And I said, you can do it. So we'll see.
Well, it's crazy how these people coming down to the last series have the difference between them going to the playoffs and being relegated could come down to 1 game.
Yeah, that's not what I expected. I thought it was going to be like, okay, depending on this series, we'll have 4th place or 5th place, right? So staying alive or being relegated. But no, We've seen multiple instances where you're either in the playoffs or you're relegated, which is a big jump. So that's been very different from the first season. Speaking of different, Lithuanians is a standout pick. We see that all the time. But Dark is actually opted for the Hindustanis here. What do you think about that?
Well, it seems like he wants to go camels to counter the Lithuanians getting their relics for their knights or their late chai.
Yeah.
And it can work, but Lithuanians are just such a strong civ with their extra food at the start. And we see Liereyy already has that dock up.
Yeah, it's just such a good build order. It's a you can do no wrong civilization, the Lithuanians, particularly on any map where there's water, because you can go to wood early because of the extra food at the start and then do this. But I would also consider the Hindustanis a you can do no wrong civilization in that they're kind of good on every map. At least every map in the pool, right? Whether it's an open map or a closed map. You could probably pick them on Arena. You could probably pick them on Arabia. And so while they don't immediately jump out at you here for their bonuses for a water map, I think you could still fish with them and then play into lands, like you said, with their camels and whatever else.
Yeah, it's still a solid civ, and it feels like this was a intentional pick from Dark, thinking that Liereyy would go Lithuanians and wanting to do something to try to counter them.
Now, Liereyy, he had kind of a slow start in one of his other sets. It's actually been 2.5 weeks since I've seen him. But I remember a couple decisions which were maybe a little too slow or just greedy. I also remember him losing a game in each series. He lost a game against Draken. He could have lost 2 in that series. And then he lost a game against Backed. So this isn't the truest test for Liereyy yet, right? Like, he's going to play Dark here. But then it only gets harder with MBL and with Yo. So I'm really curious to see what things look like after the weekend concludes, because we already had the Season 1 champion Vinchester relegated. Maybe we shouldn't be assuming that Lierey's going to be good. Yeah.
Yeah, and losing a game to Backed too hurts, because Backed is not really playing as much nowadays as he has been in the past.
Yep.
And you would normally think Liereyy should be a heavy favorite against Dark here, but Dark is still a very good player, and he has that chance. He's probably going to be fighting as hard as he can.
Yep. And that I think while there is some pressure, right? And he even messaged me to ask what his chances were, so he clearly cares a lot. You also kind of have less pressure when you're up against Liereyy. You're like, well, I'm supposed to lose this. The odds aren't good for me. And I was casting with Miguel earlier today, and we were talking about how when you're expected to lose and you're the underdog, the only time pressure starts to come in is when you start to win. But if you're not starting to win the game or win the series, you're just like, whatever. You're kind of playing your best Age of Empires too. Yeah.
All right. Well, we have Liereyy up to the feudal age just a bit faster. It helps out being the Lithuanians early on. And I don't see any player sending a villager for a sneak dock here. Just Liereyy with a lot of fishing ships.
Yeah, I feel like Liereyy, 6 fishing ships. He's going to be comfortable to play into land here, possibly, but He could always send the villager. They're actually very close on land here, much closer than some other generations.
Yeah, this is about almost as close as you can get. This map, we didn't really touch too much, but
Yep.
it uses the default DE placing TCs roughly in circles feature. And this is about as close as it places them together.
Yeah.
I know for Arena, we talked about that, and I made some pretty big changes so that they don't end up like this close where their walls are touching.
Yep.
But for Cross, this is about, they're close and they're open. There's a bit of a hill between them near dark, but other than that, you got a straight shot at each other.
Oh, this is interesting. So initially, as you were explaining that villager that's walking across the map, he was making a run for the pond, and then he noticed that Lierey's scout was there, and so he pulled back. But this is huge.
Oh.
Dark made the same mistake against Yo. He doesn't know where the dock is for Liereyy. He did the same thing against Yo, didn't confirm it, and I think he's just going to the wrong one right now.
He actually just stole 2 of Leary's pigs there. And I know
nice.
this doesn't matter too much if he's the Lithuanians, but that is 200 food you just took there.
Yeah. He's going to go double range. Lierey's been very active with the scouting this game. He confirmed the dock on both sides. So he knows there's not a dock on the other side yet. He knows there's a dock in the south. He also has dock in the north. And he knows it's double range. So you got to love the scouting here from Liereyy.
Yeah. And what do you think about the dock? Do you prefer to dock the first pond that already has the fish in it, or do you prefer to dock the other pond where they might not be adding the fish yet, but there's still more fish available in the long run if you win that pond?
I mean, the earlier you dock, the better it is for the option of killing their fish. I think that Dark had a real opportunity here. He could have easily docked Lierey's side already, but the good news for him is he at least knows that Liereyy just added a dock there. So it's going to be 1-for-1 there, and Liereyy doesn't actually know that Dark has a dock there. So I think it depends. Cross is the official it depends map. Like, there's so many pros and cons.
Exactly.
Other maps are not as complex as this one.
Yeah, and in the north, we see Liereyy queuing 2 fishing ships right away. Dark hasn't queued anything yet, but you got to think, there we go. Now we see the fire galley and the second dock. So he should be favored to win this top, as Leary's just now going to send the Vil to scout.
Look at this patience from Liereyy, though. He's had more of a fish boom, so he has those resources. He's had the range, and he's just waiting. And Dark doesn't know how much army is there, and the weak scout from Lierey's just like, okay, all right, I know what you're doing. And he's Lithuanians, right? So he's got really fast skirms. And
yeah, they can
Leary's
chase down the archers.
Oh, he's just made this look so easy. And the other small thing of this is, if the scouts were full HP, Dark could do something about it, but it's a weak scout. And so that weak scout can't do anything against the skirmishers there.
And the skirms might even be able to pick off the scout and save that Vil.
That's true. Villager will survive here as well. So not the start Dark would have wanted. The worst case scenario for you, is when you go double range and then 1 archer range counters you. Because they've invested far less wood into the attack, and they're investing into the economy in most cases. Oh my goodness. Lierey's also killed the villager in the north as well. Oh, wow.
Yeah. That low HP scout still finding value.
Yeah, just keep an eye on the amount on food here. Lierey's going to go for a second dock in the north. He also has a spearman checking the other shoreline in the west. But the amount on food for Lierey's significantly higher. He's waiting to see if Dark's going to hop out with anything. Dark kind of faking like he's got a lot of army there. He's just got 1 unit in each range, and he stopped production.
Yeah, and that's 1 unit. That's 1 skirm in each range. You're gonna take a bad fight against the Lithuanians and not be able to run away.
Yeah.
That's 9 skirms already for Liereyy.
Yeah, I mean, if Liereyy doesn't get value from the rest of the skirms and the upgrades he's getting, then it could be seen as a negative for him for sure. And Dark has done a great job to get ahead of Liereyy in the north. And he hasn't taken any land damage. He's going to drop a market and probably try and get his way to the next stage. So that was a really sneaky move there with the lower production in the ranges. That said, he's produced a few more skirmishers since.
Yeah, and he's adding in the stable, so it looks like he probably will be swapping to camels, and he will try to wall the skirms out and just use the TC a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see if he wants to make scouts here, right? He sees skirms, but Lithuanians have speedy spearmen as well. It feels like normally, since you're not that close to clicking up, and also because your berries are on the front, you probably do want to go for a scout or 2 here, but I could see him just thinking twice about that.
Yeah, the thing is, he only has fish in one pond, so he doesn't have that good of a food eco. He is taking some deer in the back,
Yeah, it's true.
but without those berries, he might still struggle to click up unless he tries to do something with the market and buy his way up, because he does have that market up already.
Yeah, I think something Dark needed to do a better job of this game was fishing in his original pond. Like, Liereyy, in his starting ponds, he has 7. And he had started with 6. That's the Lithuanians thing. But I think that initial pond could have had more. Again, great
He
job
never
from
added
Liereyy.
more later on.
Look at the left side. Like, Leary's keeping an eye on this. He's probably going to bring his army over, too. And here come the skirms. Oh, no.
The speedy skirms, they're going to be in time to deny that dock. As they're walking with an archer. I think this is where Liereyy needs to separate the army and just bring the skirms by themselves so they're faster.
I'm laughing because they both have the same idea, right? They both have very weak villagers.
Right.
And knowing Liereyy, he's probably going to just finish the dock somehow. But yeah, he's going to protect his own vill, finish the dock. I guess the downside for him, though, is that the dock will also complete for Dark.
Yeah, Liereyy didn't need to engage with all of his army on those skirms, right? That vill had only 12 HP.
Yeah.
2 or 3 skirms would have been enough.
Yeah, and I think Dark could have even bypassed Leary's army and just got a few hits there, too. So both players are just, I guess they're just going to call it even there. And they'll engage on the water. But in the north, Dark has water. Dark's added fish there. Dark's got stables. He's going to go for Hindustani camels. And Liereyy, he's making a stable to go for knights. So honestly, I think this is where the Hindustanis start to feel pretty strong against the Lithuanians.
Yeah, and this is where, in the long run, even though Dark didn't kill the initial fish from Liereyy, he did take the unfished pond in the north. So
Yep.
he basically has a second pond now of fish access, and Lierey's going to start running out. Maybe need to spend wood on fish traps if he wants to keep the fishing ships working. And this is where I think sometimes adding in that 7th fishing ship in the long run, it's an interesting decision, because by the time you get to adding it in, you're already starting to run out of fish in
Yeah,
your pond.
that's
and
true.
they're already really far away from the dock.
Liereyy probably feels like he's in full control, and then he's going to see Castle Age, and he's going to be like, ooh. I'm not sure I'm in love with this position now, but, you know, we do have a Siege Workshop from Dark. That's not showing me a lot of confidence that he feels like, you know, he can just push out with camels. In fact, he's going to go for the War Galley upgrade before any camels. Not horrible. He doesn't want to lose the pond on the left. Does make sense for that reason. Already has the pond in the north where he's going to be fishing freely.
Yeah,
So-
the one difference in the ecos is Liereyy has added a lot of farms here, and he also managed to click up without using the market. Dark
Yeah.
had to use that quite a bit, and now he only has 2 farms. So even though he has the fish in the north, it might still be difficult for him just to get a smooth transition into the camels.
Ooh, man, this is going to be very similar to what we've seen in the past from Liereyy and others. Like, you start to lose the fish, so you just go Night Monk. And if camels come out, convert the camels, and just hope you can snowball it. But Dark has honestly played this super well here, T-West. He has to get a 3-0, most likely, to be safe. He's keeping this force out somehow. He's smashing the skirms, and he's got camels waiting in case the knights break in.
And that was a good mangonel. It kept the knights from breaking through. Now he has a monastery to defend from the knights.
Yep. Yeah, and some people always ask, what's the difference between Cross and Four Lakes? The initial answer is Cross Cross came before the egg. Cross came first.
Yes.
Is a community idea. You know, it's been around for many, many years. And then when DE came out, the devs, I think they didn't want to steal the name of it. You know, they didn't want anyone getting angry with them, so they said, let's call it Four Lakes. Also a little bit more understandable, I guess, to know what it is. But the main difference with this version of Cross is there's more gold spread out, as Dark's looking for the monk there. And then the other thing is that there's less fish in the pond. So you do need to transition to land faster on this version.
Yep, there's only 8 fish in each of the ponds as Dark snipes off that monk there.
Ooh, man. Can he get the other ones? He's going to lose 2 camels there, and that's the power of monks. Great job from Dark, though, to end up killing that other monk on the other side, because he's keeping the relics away from Liereyy.
Yeah, that's the hard thing about dealing with the Lithuanians, though. Eventually, if they prioritize those relics, then their knights become really scary.
Yep.
And we have double monastery already from Liereyy.
It's interesting that the gold positions for these guys are not jutting towards the middle. That can happen sometimes. We've got a lot of side golds particularly the right-hand side has a lot of gold. Lierey's going to TC that. And then the left-hand side as well. Dark could expand that way. So this could honestly be a really long game.
Yeah, they all have gold access. There's a bit more stone kind of in the middle of the map and then moving out to the left-hand side.
Yeah. By the way, Dark has had the left side for a long time now. He's going to add more fish. I think Dark wants the castle drop Liereyy, but the biggest threat to him right now and his chances of winning are the monks. Because camels are great against knights, but Lierey's just got so many monks, and Lithuanian monasteries, just another bonus. They work faster. And even with atonement right now, Liereyy, he wants to convert enemy monks so he can get more.
Yeah, and still only 9 farms. So even if you wanted to, say, add in light cav to try to deal with the monks, it's hard to make that transition with this economy. Even if you have the fish,
it's true.
Still difficult when you don't have the farm numbers.
Yeah, he's also going to be booming out of 3 TCs. I know his villagers are cheap, but producing out of 3 TCs at the same time is going to be awkward. Recognition is going to be needed here for Dark. He's going to try and convert a unit. It almost looks like he's sensing that he can't convert here, but let's see. He's going to try and convert. Liereyy starts to convert what could look like a villager, and now the monk gets converted. That's super well played from Liereyy. And also converts the vill.
So what my chat told me, and what we saw there, I think, is if you convert a monk while the monk is converting something, then it doesn't have any faith on it when it gets converted.
I didn't see if it had faith
Dark
after it got converted there.
Something there,
okay,
I think meant that the monk from Liereyy couldn't convert anything else and just gets picked off by the camels.
Okay, so it's kind of like other stats in the game where it just doesn't... It carries over, right? I guess with faith, you actually do regen faith, whereas you wouldn't get attack upgrades or something. Well,
kind of. Just one of those weird Age of Empires things.
Well, I mean, the monks are just everywhere. This is horrible for Dark. I mean, the castle was 100% the right play, though. And he's still in this game, right? He's still keeping himself in this. It's a closer game than maybe many people would have expected. And Liereyy just has a lot of map control, and I think you mentioned it before. I think you've got to go Lightcalf here. And I think that needs to be your next priority here for your Dark. I really think you're just not going to have any success in this game if you do not take care of those monks. And at the moment, there's no pikemen to protect them. So you absolutely have to go Lightcalf. Do not make another camel here.
Yeah, and well, Dark still does have the score lead, and he has a pretty good KD so far. But he needs to find a way to get those monks, as you said. And that's just going to become harder as more come out.
Yeah, and actually, if you donate camels... First off, camels are really bad at killing monks. Monks they don't take any bonus damage from camels, and camels have low attack. But if you keep donating camels, Light Cav becomes less feasible for you, because Light Cav will die to the camels because of the bonus damage. And I just don't think Dark expected Liereyy to make this many, and Dark has to delete the camels. He just probably can't believe this right now.
Yeah, that's a great call by Liereyy to keep adding in the monks.
That's so good. And also, Lierey's economy is unbelievable for a guy who only has 1 pond. Look at that food eco. 42 on food. Just crazy numbers.
Yeah, and he was just adding in the farms this entire game. They're cheaper than the fish traps, so it's easier to add in a lot in the early Castle Age.
14 fishing ships versus 7. Obviously, we do have the fish traps there for Liereyy. If you're wondering about the score right now, seeing all the stats in this game, having Navy does boost your score a lot. And having fish in general does. And oh god, Liereyy, we know he's good with his Archer Micro, but he's split up these conversions on the different camels. He's converted so much here. And now Dark, I mean, he's got an inefficient economy below this. He's not going to have any of his own monks or really any of his own camels. Maybe I'm wrong.
Does Dark win this fight?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Does Dark win this fight, and can he clear the monks?
It's the slowest win you're ever going to see. It's like... Lierey's not even running or converting with his new units. He must be doing things at home.
I think he just got conversions with all of the monks successfully, but just still didn't win the fight and then had no conversions left on the monks.
So you're saying there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance.
Dark now has a pretty big score lead.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Liereyy is on the way to Imp, right? And he's going to make a couple more monks, but he's going to switch pikemen now. So we'll see if Dark can maybe get a counterattack in here. But
yeah, and that's that awkward period where like you're saving for Imp, and you're not going to be pumping army while you do that. And
Yeah.
he was really far forward trying to attack while that was going on. He might have not realized that Dark still has a good eco with the 3 lakes, right?
Yeah, I think what's so nice here, too, is if Liereyy pushes you with a faster imp, he's not taking you off of gold because you can have the left-hand side of your Dark.
Yeah, gold and sown.
Yeah, exactly. It's all there. You've scouted it. Liereyy probably scouted some of it as well, of course, so that's awkward, but... Liereyy making a Lattice or two, making Pikeman. You know, Pikeman's not really the strongest opening in the game. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and you know, even against Hindustani, since their camels attack faster, they do actually a fairly decent job of taking out those pikemen sometimes.
So, you know,
And
Dark...
another thing for Liereyy, he's going to lose the forward university to the camels.
That's
and
so
if he wants
annoying.
to go for chemistry, he's going to need to realize that and rebuild it.
That university also made no sense to me. It almost felt like... So for me, my Siege Workshop, my university hockey are right next to each other. It almost felt like that was the case for him, and he wanted to go forward Siege, and he didn't end up doing it. Oh god, great fight for Liereyy here. He's got monks and pikemen.
Oh, and the Ghulam slowing down the camels as they run.
Yeah, that's always fun. Ghulam's also not the most helpful unit ever against pikemen, but I think Dark still realizes that he needs to take good fights and take good trades. He might actually clear another force here from Liereyy.
That's those Hindustani camels. Like, I watched them fight pikemen, and you don't think it's going to be a good fight, but then they attack faster, and they somehow take an okay fight.
Well, now
Liereyy still wins that, but not as hard as you might have thought.
Yeah, I love this recognition from Liereyy. He's like, great fight. I've got it. I also like how Leary's making Lattice now, because he thinks, all right, camels aren't a problem for me. We got the Halbs. Let's go into a killer unit. And that's a castle that means business there in the front. That allows him to really push here. And still 2 minutes for Dark till he's in the next stage. I feel like the best composition you want here as Hindustanis is hand cannons and... Or maybe even skirms and camels, but it's going to take a long time to get the transition going.
Yeah, you need something with the camels. Good thing for Dark, though, is he actually does have 3 relics. So Liereyy won't have any extra bonus damage. It'll just be equal to the normal blast furnace.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ooh, let's see if Liereyy branches out here, because Dark's sitting back. Yeah, Dark sees the movement, and he's like, I'm out of here. Also, look at
He's
Liereyy.
running those mills.
He made houses all along the north side. He's now making outposts. He's looking to see if there's any eco over here, and he's going to find it.
Yeah, he's going to see those vills near his outpost. They will kill the villager, at least.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know what they do from here, but even if... I guess if they get chased down by the Lattice, it's better than the Lattice running into Dark's economy right now, so...
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to pull some of them off. And the other thing about Dark, his castles are pretty far to the back of his base. They're not really in a position where Liereyy can treb them safely from underneath that castle.
Leary's looking for
What
those
is this
bills.
TC?
Leary's looking for those bills. Also, Dark's dock villager up there is making it stable. If Dark can make it messy and just raid over there, Liereyy could be distracted on the front. But man, Leary's army is strong. Monks, Lattice, Trebs. Let's take out the second town center in a second. And Halbs. And they're so speedy, like, just so easy to make mistakes if you're in Dark's position right now.
Yeah, and it's so hard to use the Ghulams too, because they're not like eagles. They don't have that conversion resistance against the monks. So even the few remaining monks there are good at defending from them.
That said, I mean, heavy camel's going to be in. Chemistry's going to be in, so hand cannons are an option. Still just feels like it's all taking so much time, right? Imp took some time, chemistry taking time, heavy camel. Blacksmith upgrade still lacking. Liereyy denied the TC in the north. That's actually the heavy camel stable. What? How does that even happen?
At least there's no trebs by it.
Yeah, I know, but like, how does that even happen? Okay. It's 24 Halbs and 24 Lattice for Liereyy. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. And still no hand cannons yet. And Lierey's just pushing home his advantage here against Dark. Dark is really running out of ideas.
Yeah, and I feel like he had maybe some options to go for those light cav in the mid game and take better fights against the monks.
Yep. He has the right idea with the technologies. He's absolutely going for the right units. Trying to go hand cannons with camels. That's spot on. Also, crazy raid on the right side. That'll be fun to watch.
Oh yeah, they're both just raiding each other. The camel should get through that gauge. It's hard to stop those camels when they have their attack bonus against buildings. You got a wall in so many places.
I guess the difference being here that one person has trebs, the other person does not, and I'd still prefer Elite Latus for the raids over camels. And a couple of the camels break in. Liereyy, though, sending halves. Halves should deal with this pretty quickly, and Liereyy suddenly has a 100 population lead. Didn't take long.
Yeah, this raid is a bit too late.
Yep. Honestly,
it feels like the hand cannoneer switch just wasn't in time. Dark spent too much of the game without a unit that could fight against the halbs.
Honestly, though, I know the stakes are rough here for Dark, but he played a really good game here, right? He's still trying right now to do what he can. He probably hasn't looked at his population yet. He's going to realize in a second, but what a great game from him. He really could have won this one had he expected the monks or done something more about Lierey's monks in the middle. But, you know, he maybe plays on here, T-West, because he feels like in order to stay alive in Titans League Platinum, he has to 3-0. And that's not going to happen now. A 2-1's possible. I think he could realistically get some wins as well if he plays this well. But Liereyy, some question over his form possibly because he hasn't been as active, but he looked sharp.
And I still think that's a very tough Civ matchup, even if Hindustanis do have camels against the Liereyy.
Yeah.
Lithuanians have a great unit composition to accompany them.
Honestly, I think like the double stable camel felt like such a good idea initially. I won't go back to the point because we'll move along here, but he did actually scout the double monastery. And I think if you scout the double monastery and you already have 4 or 5 camels, you have to go for light cav. Like, there were so few knights from Liereyy in Castle Age. It was just like 3 or 4 knights. 5 camels, 5 light cav, you kill every single monk, you kill all the knights, and then you have map control. And that would have made such a big difference. And you could tell what he was thinking. He was like, my camels attack faster. I can still clear up the monks. Like, it's still a possibility for me. But I think even though he ended up winning a fight there near the tail end of Castle Age, he really needed to have more map control. And that's what cost him here.
Yeah, it's like he won the fights, but he didn't win them fast enough for it to matter. And he had all those extra fish too, but he couldn't push that into a faster imp because he had to keep pumping out those camels.
Yeah. So Liereyy, remember we're talking a lot about Dark getting relegated. This is one of 3 sets that he's going to play near the tail end of the group. So Liereyy wants to possibly tie Yoan first or even get first place in the group. Certainly wants to be in that top 3, so he gets an important win. My favorite thing about this game, though, was the fact that it was Liereyy of all people, faster Castle Age, crazy monk aggression. He was all over the place, and Dark just held on, man. Like, Dark held on, took it to post-imp. That was a really exciting sign for him, I think. But yeah, good game.
Well, hopefully a good sign for Dark going forward that he, even with perhaps a Civ disadvantage, still had a pretty good game.
Yeah, I agree. And here we are, game 2. I'm correcting the colors here as well. And we got a fun matchup here. Turks for Liereyy. You don't get to see Liereyy play Arena all the time, so I'm excited to see what he'll do with them. And then Bengalis for Dark. And Dark has looked good on Arena. He had a crazy game. It was one of the better Arena games we've had in Titans League, where Draken went 2 castle drop fast imp against him when he was Bengalis. And he somehow, without his main gold and his secondary gold, had a slightly faster imp, pushed his way back, and then eventually won the game with battle elephants. So, yeah, I mean, what are you thinking?
I like them on Arena. I feel like they have a great monk rush if you want to get aggressive, and 2, they have a great boom into just like elephant units are so pop efficient. If you get into a late game fight on Arena, I feel like Bengalis are one of the best civs. If they get their unique tech so that the villas take less pop space, they'll have a bigger eco.
Yep.
And then they take less bonus damage from the trash units. So the elephant archers, if you get a few monks healing them, even if the opponent has a lot of skirms, it's hard to take them out quickly enough to win fights.
What is Dark doing with his vills there? Interesting. He pulled vills off of food. He's now going to straggler trees. And now he's bringing in a boar with his scout. What? Vinchester did this crap in the past on Arena, so I imagine Dark maybe got the idea from him. I hate giving up scout HP on your scout on Arena.
But
Bro.
You know what he's thinking? He's probably thinking, I'm against the Turks. They're going to get a light cav. I'm not going to win the scout fight anyway. Why don't I just bring my boar in slightly more efficiently if it were under the TC?
if I mean, it's not even
if there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, my main issue with this is not just the fact that he's giving up scout HP. He didn't have food underneath his TC. So now he's had 18 seconds of TC idle time. That's basically a villager behind right there for no reason. So that's weird.
Yeah, basically.
I guess he does get +2 when he makes it to feudal. So,
yeah, but still, it's less ahead than you would be.
And the efficiency's bad. It feels like, maybe the nerves are there and he's trying to be too fancy. If he gets housed, I might scream. Now he's bringing in the next boar.
Yeah, he's got the house in time.
Okay. Well, I kind of want to look at Lierey's economy for a couple minutes because that's giving me anxiety. But honestly, T-West, I think that in this matchup, Turks cannot play standard because they have no elite skirm and they have no help. And I think they have a horrible, horrible time against Elephant Archer specifically.
I think they do too. I think this is a matchup where the Turks have to be aggressive. And, well, they're one of the best civs at doing that on Arena.
Okay, yeah, and it was Sebastian versus Veleza in Group D. And Sebastian had a really good game with Turks, good aggression, got the light cav. And then he was trying to think of his options to push Elephant Archers, and he went hand cannons. And, I mean, he had like 35 hand cannons with 4 bombard cannons. And 15 Elephant Archers with full upgrades killed it all.
Yeah, the Elephant Archers are just so tanky.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't even know what the Turks can do against them late game. I mean, hand cannoneers, heavy cav archers, maybe heavy camels.
Yeah, I think it's a numbers thing.
I think the Turks just don't want to get to that fight.
Yeah, I think
it's to that point.
I agree, and I think it's all momentum based thing, right? So I think, if you're gonna win the game, win it early imp before those strong elephants come out. But when I think of Liereyy, I do not see Liereyy having the confidence and the experience going 1 or 2 TCs with Janissaries. I think Leary's just going to go castle. He's going to make light cav. He's going to compete for relics, and he's going to go late game. And even though Dark's Dark Age has been abysmal, he's still going to get +2 villagers when he arrives to feudal. Same when he arrives to castle. His eco should be better. And even if he doesn't get a lot of relics, he's got some pretty good units that he can fight with. So I think this is a really good chance for Dark.
Yeah, you normally don't think of Liereyy as an arena clown. You think of him as someone who both has very good micro and also is very clean with his build orders, especially that feudal age transition into the castle age. Yeah. And he is going to stone, so it does look like he probably does want Janissaries.
Whoa.
And the question for him will be, how smooth is that build as he transitions up to the Imperial Age? Is he as accomplished with Janissaries as he is with his feudal age builds on Arabia?
Yeah, no, I'm excited for this because I just figured he was gonna listen. If there's one way that I underestimate or not underestimate Liereyy, if there's one thing I'm critical of with Liereyy, it's always being prepared. I'd say because he can just play his way. He doesn't have to play what the meta is or even the maps meta. And he just gets away with it. And there was even an example in Titans League Season 1 where he went Saracens and he went Archers and Towers to try to break through the walls. But, he didn't do his homework because the stone walls had 1,800 HP. He was expecting him to have 900 HP, the ladder version. So just, things like that. But the thing is, it's Liereyy, right? So then he can get away with it, and it's, fine. He's still going to move on past the group, and he's still okay, even if he has those bad results. This is cool, man. I don't know if it's going to work, but I actually think Liereyy is choosing the right strategy here in this instance.
Yeah, and he's going up on 25 population. So I guess in the classic arena games from many years ago, you'd probably go 28 + 2 if you were going for stone and your unique unit.
Yep.
But people tend to go up much faster now in DE. And one of the advantages of the Turks is since they mine that gold faster, they can buy their way up to castle or up to imp faster. And that's actually a really nice eco bonus for their 1TC style of push.
Another interesting thing here, T-West. If you're building the castle in your base, you normally get to feudal, create 2 vills, then click up to castle. Lierey's going loom. and then 1 villager, which tells me that he might be daring enough to walk across the map and try and drop the castle on Dark's face, which is already crazy enough because it's Liereyy. But that's actually the exact thing that happened to Dark when he played Draken 3 weeks ago, and Dark somehow fought it back. So this is a pretty cool storyline so far.
And just to make that worse, Dark Scout has less HP. So if he wants to scout that forward castle drop, he's going to be at a disadvantage if he ends up in a bit of a scout fight
yeah,
or
dude,
even a fight with a Vil.
And Leary's also going to go for a stable too. This is a really aggressive build. So basically you go, again, shout out to John Slow. He might not have been the first person that ever did this, but he's the guy who I credit for this because he's done it a lot. You go for stables, so you can make like 1 or 2 light cab. It's so pricey with this economy. You get the light cab upgrade for free, obviously. You take map control, and that just guarantees that you don't get your castle denied when you go forward. But
yeah, that's the thing about the Turks.
rough.
It's so easy to get that castle forward with the light cav. And, even if you get a stable, you can even add in like 1 knight or so if the opponent has spears, or in those cases where they also went scouts, or even you don't see it as much nowadays, but for the archer opening.
Yeah. I mean, I guess maybe it's just spearmen. It's honestly better in your economy to not have to spend 175 wood to go for the stable and then spend the food on the light cav. And Dark is doing the right thing to stay within his walls here, because that will be a light cav and because the scout is weak. But that castle's going to go up on his face, and Liereyy... This is the same thing that happened, I think. Watch, Dark's going to go double monastery. This is precisely what happened when Dark played Draken. There's 1 monastery. Is he going to go 2? 2!
Yep.
Oh my god.
Now the question is, where does Liereyy place his castle? 'Cause one of the worst things that could happen if you're going monks is if the castle is right on top of your monastery, so you can't get the monks out. Looks like he has enough distance now, but the castle will at least hit that 2nd gold that he has that ended up forward for him.
Well, what happened in the Draken Dark game was the monasteries were further forward. Both of them were in a line, kind of where that first one is here for Dark, and then the castle was right up against the wall. So the monasteries
That's
were...
the worst thing that can happen to you.
Yeah, and he still made it happen here. So all things considered, this is actually way better than that game had gone. And, Liereyy, the other thing that could be awkward for him is, does he mind stone on the front here? Because oftentimes what you want with these types of plays is you actually want additional gold income for those villagers, not necessarily stone. But if you're on
especially
stone...
when you're the Turks, and you'll get that gold faster.
Yeah, and like, you being on stone here, man, it's like, you kind of feel forced to go for double castle and double unique unit production, and the fast imp doesn't feel quite as exciting.
Yeah, exactly. Your eco just ends up getting set up different.
Yeah. The Dark's going to get Sanctity, and Lierey's being active with that 1 light cav to try and stop the monks from getting any relics. And Lierey's knocking on the door, but this is going to be a fun one here. It does seem like it's going to be awkward for Dark to get relics. 4 of the 5 relics are kind of in a diamond shape right behind Lierey's castle here.
Yeah, Liereyy did a good job of putting that castle in a spot. Not only does he get that stone and the gold on the inside, but also controls the relics with it.
Okay, here come the Janissaries, man. There is 2 TCs for Dark. He has a villager lead. And monks do have 9 range with his civilization. A spearman from Dark gets microed away. And this is awkward for him because he doesn't want to lose his monks. He micros that monk away. Very well played. He could still lose it, but no, it hops into the TC last second.
Yeah, and the awkward thing with that relic is he can't even bring it in his gate because then the Janissaries will pick off the monk.
Yep.
He's just going to die to the light cav.
I
The
don't
wolf
know.
gets a kill on the spearman.
Yeah, spear. That's true. Woo, woo, woo. Not bad. Okay, so far, so good for both players. This is precisely the spot that maybe they expected to find themselves in. It's just execution from here. And again, Lierey's going to build up towards the second castle.
Yeah, and how do you get the monks from your monastery to your TC when the Janissaries are patrolling right in front of it?
True. You got to go for conversions, then dodge to this side. Oh, man, these Bengali monks are insane. How is that monk not dead? Oh, my God, another conversion. Oh, my God, another conversion.
He's going to get a 3rd.
That's beautiful
Great
play
job.
from Dark.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't right-click the monks to walk somewhere else, they maintain their conversion as the Janissaries run away, and they catch up, and that's what Dark needed there.
Also, no loom, and I think the important thing for him too is he still has gold, he still has stone, he's got a nice healthy Vil lead. So what he'll want to do, as he micros again very nicely with the converted units, is just get your own castle down safely, and then rush to Imp to get trebuchets.
Yeah, and we see Liereyy, his stone count is climbing, but that doesn't help him get Imp. His gold still is only 8 fills on gold back on his main gold in his base. He's adding in a lot of farms, which is kind of slows down your Imp. If you have to collect wood, seed farms, and wait for Vils to collect food rather than just mining the gold and buying your way up.
I like the army control from Liereyy, though. Like, I know that the Bengali monks are insane. Like, no, I think you could argue that no other civilization could actually defend from this as well as Dark has done so far. But, you know, he's just making more Janissaries, and he's hoping that that could make the difference in the snipes. But every time he gets close, Dark is close to getting conversions.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can hide under that TC, and when the Janissaries get close, you just pop inside.
And conversion there led to another kill because there was a weak unit in the group. Dark hoping for more conversions, realizes he didn't really have the monks ready yet. And man, this TC has been the monks' best friends. this has been super nice.
Yeah. It feels kind of like your Aztecs with that armor just giving you so much more resistance.
All right, so you've got 6 monks. There's 12 Janissaries. This castle could definitely be denied depending on how the conversions go. But if the castle goes up, Dark could have some even bigger problems. Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a very forward castle from Liereyy.
With like 5 villagers. But he does have light cap
too.
Yeah, the light cap might make the difference here. No way. He clears out most of the monks. The castle could go up. Crazy. And Dark's going to have to drop his own castle to have any chance. He's going to drop it behind here because he can't place it in front. This aggression from Liereyy is so unlike him for Arena, right? This is not something he plays a lot.
Right.
But he's making it look so
Janissar's
good.
Going to dive the TC.
Wow.
And he's going to get in there and kill even more Vils.
And just needs to sit there. That castle will never go up. His castle will be up. And this might honestly be the game. You can't even take gold right now if you're Dark. Crazy.
Oh, he only has that stone. And what's he going to do with that stone? He can't even build a castle pretty much anywhere now that the Janissaries are in that deep into his farms.
Wow. The light cap addition from Liereyy was so amazing. I didn't notice that he made that second stable forward until he ran in there with the light cap. And I think Dark would have been able to deny it otherwise. This is just beautiful play. And Dark has a massive ill lead, but at what point is that going to change? And how efficient is his economy right now when he's in and out of all of his town centers?
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Turks. Not only do they have the Janissaries, but they have great supporting units for them too.
Yep. I guess if the castle goes up, then all the units could go down here. So that's kind of awkward. Can you just sit underneath the castle because there's no murder holes?
Just about, and they're still going to deny that gold.
Let's see. Worker efficiency last minute. 55% for Dark. That is way higher than I expected it to be. More monks hopping out of monasteries. Oh, God. It's so cramped in here, man. Okay.
And this is where you get to that spot where sometimes against the monk rush, you want to sneak out your side gate, maybe find one of the other golds on the map, but Louis just controlling everything in the front for Dark.
I guess Dark could take gold again. That's good. So he can take his gold again. He can still take stone. I would really like to see rams. I think deleting farms and having added rams would have been good. I guess it's actually inconvenient, though, that you don't get rams and you get elephant rams. Because that costs food and gold, and food is kind of hard to come by right now. But you got to push these castles down. Because Lierey's going to go fast imp. You got to push those castles down as fast as possible.
Oh, and he's doing exactly what I said. He's trying to sneak out to the side, but Lierey's prepared for that. He's a spearman there, ready to scout it.
Yeah, but will Liereyy notice it? Right? Like, that's really smart from Liereyy to put the spearman there. Is he looking for that right now? That's
I mean, a lot of Vils. He has a long time to spot it.
Oh my God, he's going to castle drop Lierey's base. He's going to castle drop Lierey's base. Go, 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 go. Run.
And that spear hasn't reacted. Here comes a Ratha.
I love this play. I love this play. Liereyy will have no defense. This is epic. This is still winnable for Dark. This is crazy.
It is, and you know what? Dark could even get a monk down here and collect those relics. The castle protects it from the northeast, but not from the south.
Now, Lierey's going to try and make Trebs, but he's going to need Trebs at home as well. God, man. Love it or hate it, Arena just produces some ridiculous games. Lierey's going to be so annoyed. Holy crap. Also, Imp is on the way for Dark. You have to imagine he'll make it.
So, Dark has 31 vills in his base and 21 vills forward building that castle.
And Lierey's thinking, Liereyy doesn't know about this yet. Lierey's thinking, oh, actually, he does know because he relocated his wood line. But he just wanted to get relics right now. He was not expecting this little twist in the tail. Ratha just passing the monk. You got to make sure that TC doesn't go down if you're Dark. He did the right thing, and he chose the safest TC.
Yeah, not like Doubt the other day.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, my goodness. Also, wait a second. Dark's adding more town centers. You get 2 villagers from each town center. When you
as
hit
long as
Imp.
he adds them before he gets Imp, you'll get 6 extra vills down in the south of the map.
It's funny, though. He's going to have all these vills.
This is crazy. He's going to have more vills like outside forward than he will in his base.
Yeah. Wow, Liereyy not tracking those villagers escaping and being so fixated on the push, which you can completely understand. Ended up being so important here. And now Liereyy needs to defend his base. Look at Lierey's base. If Ratha run in there, dude, Lierey's got nothing.
Yeah, and Liereyy had even done the right thing, too. He had that spearman in the perfect position to scout it, but wasn't reacting to it early enough.
Yeah, yeah. It's the thing, you just have so many vills, and if you have to think outside the box on this map, you can make some crazy things happen. That monk is going to end up going down. Relic is right next to the monastery. Special delivery. Amazon Prime right there.
Leaving it right outside the door for you.
Yep. We got Trebs from Liereyy and from the 2 forward castles. He has to go forward. And
how many forward vills does Liereyy still have? He has 6 on that lumber camp and 1 on that stone. So Leary's going to start to run into the problem soon that he needs to take gold and leave his main gold, and he's just going to have 4 tiles to the north of his base. He could run into trouble actually collecting resources.
I'm sorry I'm laughing. I'm just laughing because the last time we saw Liereyy on Arena, it was just a similar clown fest. Also, MBL told me that he and Liereyy were complaining about there being so many arena maps, and there's not even that many. It's just the same as the first season. I'm just laughing thinking of Lierey's reaction to what he's seeing right now. Oh, but he's defended super well.
You gotta play one of arena or fortified clearing because you can only ban one if your opponent wants to pick it.
Yep,
and then you
that's
have
exactly
Regicide
it.
Fortress too. I'm still waiting for us to have like Modri versus Draken in Platinum League, where we'd have Arena, Fortified Clearing, and Regicide Fortress all being played.
Oh my god, the Janissary's here. I mean, I was just going to say Lierey's still got army, but he might not have a lot. He's still got Trebs at least. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, about that is very few players who prefer the closed maps can also play so good to get here, right? And like Dark is such a good open map player. He almost won the first game. He's showing what he can do in a diverse setting now in this game, and he's kind of just going for tower defense. He took out the TC from Liereyy, or did Liereyy delete that? I guess he lost it, so Liereyy has no TCs now. He just made a mill there.
Yeah, he has to mill his own farms, and he's going to lose the true relics he had in the monastery, too. And Dark has 102 vills. It's 102 vills to 46. And now Dark's collecting relics in the south. He's going to have 3 relics.
Dark doesn't have food eco, though, so I guess he needs to make Ratha out of the 1 castle that he was going to have remaining at his base. Repairing the castles, dropping more towers to buy time is Dark. Again, if Dark loses this game, he's 100% relegated, too, which is just another thing to spice it up. It could also be the difference between Liereyy being 1st, 2nd, or 3rd in the group. Janissary group going crazy here. Castle still almost going down here for Liereyy. He's desperately repairing. Treb's still going to town. This is a ridiculous game. Lierey's just defending at home with monks, by the way. He's just got a couple monks there. 4 of them. Castle's
And
still
the
up.
longer it takes Liereyy to push, the longer these vills in dark space still continue to work.
Yeah, and he just needs time. Dark just needs time to farm in the middle. Liereyy is possibly going to take Dark's entire main base. We are going to have red on the right, red on the left, but blue in the center. This is ridiculous. Wow.
If you're Dark, do you just take your vills now and just leave your base, run them all to your TCs in the center of the map?
Yeah, if there's any question.
Try to keep as many alive as you can.
Yeah, they're only lumberjacks, so I think the distraction aspect is nice, but I think you don't want to lose 30, 40 villagers here, and I think it's better to just run away. Easy for us to say, obviously. He also has to attack on the front. Here he goes into Lierey's base. Is he going to drop a castle there? He's going to tower rush. Okay. He's got to just do a lot of different things here. But this is an insane game. I mean, I think Dark should win the game from here, but he's still being trebbed down and still losing so much.
Yeah, he just needs to rebuild in the south fast enough that he can get some type of army, right? Because the problem is still, how do you deal with Janissaries? If League gets a good mass of like 20 or so again, and he keeps adding them in, how do you kill that if you still are trying to add in your eco and you can't get to the elephant archers?
Look at Lierey's economy. He's battering down a tower. He is adding a TC. The tower will go down, and the Trebs could go down too. Dark, you need to be careful, bro. You need to be really careful
he
here.
needs to run that Treb.
Liereyy might have a chance here. Lierey's Janissaries are owning everything. There's still no answer to it. There's no good answer to this unit. Oh, man. The Trebs are still taking out buildings. The Trebs from Dark now have to flee. Liereyy, you don't want to run into the castle fire,
running.
my dude. Liereyy?
And now here's the problem. Where's Dark gonna get... Where's he gonna get gold? His one gold will be denied by the Janissaries. His other's going to run out right away. And he doesn't have gold access right now.
Yeah.
This castle he's adding in isn't really on a resource.
Well, he's market blocking Liereyy, so Liereyy cannot leave his own base. You cannot make it up. Triple market wall to keep Liereyy penned into his own base. He has surrounded Liereyy like Liereyy surrounded him. What?
He needs more markets. He needs to wall up the front too.
He needs more markets. Never a sentence that I thought that you'd be saying today.
You know, 1v1.
And now Liereyy is running from his base, but there's not enough space in the middle. He's trying to like weave his way through to somehow get a town center up there.
And the 2 HP Vill is gonna dodge that castle without ballistics.
Oh.
And she might run into the wolf. She'll be on the other side of the TC.
Well, Dark does still have 2 Trebs, and so he's going to Treb down Lierey's castle. Liereyy has 4 Trebs, 2 of which are in Dark's starting eco, about to try and take out a monastery. The other 2 are taking out the TCs from Dark. Look at Lierey's eco.
Relics too.
Look at Lierey's eco KD. By the way, Dark's going to build all the markets. Gotta love that. But Lierey's killed 57 villagers. He has a 2-to-1 KD, and he still hasn't been able to win this game, but he still could.
Yeah, and how do you keep the Trebs alive now? Janissaries don't do that much damage, but over time they can sit there and just snipe them away.
Yeah. You need the conversions. You need like ballistics for your towers and castles. All needs to pay off. Look at this. Dark is now running to the far corner of his starting eco, but Lierey's even tracked him there. This game is ridiculous. Also, 2 HP villager was killed. I don't know what killed it, but that TC didn't go up for Liereyy, who now has no gold? Does he see the own gold in his base? He does.
But neither player has gold income right now.
Of course.
Yeah, both players have 0 on gold.
Of course. So it's just going to be
Louis leaving his Trebs out. Oh.
I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening. I'm just seeing so many random things on my screen. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, Louis trying to castle his own base, but the Rathas are there. This castle might be denied.
Oh, and I mean, even if it's not denied, it could be trebbed down. But then your Liereyy could always treb other things down. Oh my goodness. Oh, Lierey's got 31 bills, T West. He's got 31.
So those two Janissaries that were chasing the Vills in Dark Space, one of them was converted and killed the other one. And
Okay.
now Dark is going to build a TC and try to take his farms back, but there are
Nice.
already Trebs and Janissaries there.
Yeah, that's probably not the wisest move in hindsight, but who can blame him? This game's too crazy. Like,
Oh, he's gonna TC drop the other TC.
Liereyy needs to... Yeah, that's true. Liereyy needs to have his 4 Trebs and 9 Janissaries win the game for him. And I'm just looking at his screen. I mean, I know Dark is 56 on wood, 2 on food, 8 on gold. So he doesn't actually have much res either. But it feels like it's more realistic for Dark to make an army and to have an eco than Liereyy. And that Dark's actually going to do this.
It feels like he should. It just... It's so weird that he doesn't have gold access. He finally adds in TCs on Lierey's gold.
Yeah, I mean... Liereyy, I'll say the same thing I said to you last time you played an incredible game on this map. Why don't you ban Arena, bro? just ban Arena. I don't know what you banned, but it wasn't Arena, clearly. If you don't want this type of game, but please, we beg, don't ban it, actually, because watching Liereyy play against these crazy strats, or even execute crazy strats in Arena, is a treat.
Yeah, and you know, as weird as it is to say, Liereyy would have won this game if he had done the market wall strategy, but just to Dark so he couldn't run out of his base, right? Like,
yeah.
Right where that Spearman was standing, if he had some walling there to keep Dark trapped in, then those Vills don't add a forward castle or 3 extra TCs.
That's a very good point, yeah. Crazy. Liereyy is probably staring at his screen right now. Like, think about it from Lierey's perspective. You have been killing so many Vills. The KD's great. Like, I'm sure the stats are going to look great for him at the end. It's just not clicking for him. He calls the GG. He's like, get me out of this. I can't believe I didn't win that game. He created 61 Janissaries that game. He killed 91 villagers, 145 kills, 79 units units died, excuse me. But, you know, Dark, he escaped. And had he not escaped T-West, like you said, he would have been trapped in there. He would have lost this game. That mad dash with 30 or so villagers, and not even just that. It was the mad dash to escape. It was the town centers, but it was castle dropping Liereyy and applying pressure there that won him the game. That was such great game sense from Dark in one of the biggest, like, the messiest games you'll probably see on Arena. Somehow we continue to get games like this time and time again.
And how often do you see that Bengali's bonus paying off in the Imperial Age? By that time, you normally have so many Vills that, you know, it's nice, but here it really did matter for him getting those extra Vills when he threw up those TCs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seriously. I mean, resources collected tells the whole tale. What a ridiculous win from Dark. I would have been so dead to that, right? When that second castle goes up from Liereyy, and then my castle gets to 9, which is what happened to Dark, I'm out of ideas. But, you know, maybe it was the desperation here because he needs the wins desperately. Or maybe it's just because he understands this map and he had the game sense to realize that for Liereyy to be that aggressive, Liereyy had very little economy. And again, just an incredible KD for Liereyy, but he just couldn't make it happen here. I guess apart from walling in Dark and keeping an eye on that, were there any major mistakes from Liereyy for you? Because I don't really think so.
It felt like he did that about as well as he could have. I mean, he had the build, he got the forward castle, he got the second castle in a great spot.
Yep.
Maybe he should have tried to extract some of his Janissaries before he lost them under that castle that Dark threw up.
Yeah.
But it felt like he did almost everything right early on until he let Dark escape.
I'm just like panning through various points of this game with Capture H Pro. Okay, Lierey's on the left, red on left, blue on right. And then I wish we had a heat map of it. I'm just looking at what this turns into on the mini-map, and it just looks so ridiculous. What a game. Well, again, that might be the last time we ever see Liereyy play Arena. Hope people enjoyed that one. I'm really glad that I had someone here with me to share that experience, T-West. That was ridiculous.
I love arena games like that.
Here we are, game 3, and honestly, guys, honestly, It would be so ridiculous if Dark were to win this game. It gives himself a chance at staying alive. It puts Liereyy at 5 wins after 3 sets, and Liereyy has yet to play MBL, yet to play Yo, and those games will happen on the same exact day, Wednesday the 5th. So, T-West, the drama's been real in Titans League. We already had a big name relegated. There will be many more as well. Lierey's gone for the Mayans, more of a classic pick here on Nomad. And we have a wonky-looking map gen here.
We do. And well, about those civs, Dark had both Malians and Spanish in his draft.
Ooh.
And I don't think I've seen Mayans on Nomad yet. Not as good as they used to be because they don't start with 4 villagers. They need to build their TC before getting that villager as a bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that change was originally added because they had Step in the map pool. And Step was incredibly strong if you had all the villagers there, right? So they wanted to balance out Step. But it definitely knocked Mayans down a peg or two. They do still get the additional vill. You're going to see it here from Liereyy. And boom. So now he's a vill up. And Liereyy has docked the west side. And Dark has docked the north side. So since it's landlocked over towards the left, they are pretty much as far away as you can be from each other on the water. Also, if I said Wednesday the 5th, I meant to say Sunday the 5th.
You meant Sunday the 5th.
Yeah. Someone was confused over here. I probably just misspoke. But what do you think about Malians overall?
What do you think of Malians? I mean, a great civ for Nomad. Kind of surprised you went for Malians over Spanish. I feel like these days Spanish have been usually the first pick.
Yep.
But Malians, they have a great eco at the start, and you want to get a good fish boom with them. And there are at least 3 or 4 fish that Dark could take comfortably by that first stock.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Malians. I guess maybe the logic here is you're always going to have a good start with Malians. With Spanish, they might find your fish. You might not find a couple boars. Spanish are still a great starting civ on Nomad because you build faster, but there's just more that you depend on. And this might also be a bit of a confidence pick for Dark, more to his play style, or maybe he feels like he's just the better player on Nomad against Liereyy.
Yeah, the Spanish do kind of move you into that castle drop conquistador play style. Yep. Malians are a bit more flexible in what you can do.
Yeah, agreed. And a big moment here for Dark. So he has found where Liereyy has docked by scouting the shoreline. It is going to be interesting, though, because he is TC'd right next to a pond in the middle. So if he assumes that this is all connected and were to dock here to be aggressive against Liereyy, he would be incorrect. So he needs to make sure that if he's going to kill Lierey's fish later on, he needs to make sure he runs over there.
Yeah, I think they should be pretty confident that they know Nomad sometimes spawns with these inner middle waters.
Yeah.
And that it can be not connected.
Yeah,
I think he's an experienced enough player to be aware of that.
Yeah, and Lierey's trying to find things too right now, but Liereyy just hasn't really found it. I think he did see at the start where the TC was for Dark, so that's really nice, but he's being very thorough in the south and in his corner. But he does not really have a sheep heading towards the north. So he might not really be able to kill any fish from Dark. That said, while your fish are safe in Dark's position, you're also going to run out of fish pretty quickly. And having the more southern side where there's more water available just means more efficient fishing in the long run.
Yeah, and usually it's the Malians player you think of as going up to the feudal age first to kill the fish.
Yep. So 3 fishing ships for Liereyy, in a moment anyways. He's on 2 currently. 5 fishing ships for Dark. That's the Malian start for you. And I'll tell you what, man, like, again, Liereyy picking Nomad as a home map. We asked him, like, I wish I would have got that response after the series, right? But I got the response mid-series, like, why'd you pick Nomad as a home map? Because it shocked us, and he said, might as well have some fun. He said he wasn't really a big fan of the map pool. Got it. But, like, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, T-West. If he loses 2-1 the Dark, it increases Dark's chances of having a chance of staying alive, and it decreases Lierey's chances of either survival or getting first or second in the group, which could be a big deal with MBL and Yo on the cards for him this weekend.
Yeah, that series against Yo is going to be pretty important for him because I think
Yep.
Yo has played all of his other games so far and only lost 2 of them.
Yeah.
So if Liereyy wants to finish first, he needs to pretty much win everything out from here.
Yeah, he will. I'm a little surprised Dark didn't click up yet, but, you know, if he knows how far away his opponent's fish are, he might be just thinking fast castle here. He does know exactly where Lierey's TC is. He lost a sheep earlier, so safe fish, maybe Night Siege could be his plan. It's not actually the fastest or the latest uptime in the end here for Dark, but he's going to be able to afford a lot off this, and he is sending the Vil now. So I think maybe not as fast as I was expecting, but the Vil is ultimately going to end up docking near Lierey's dock anyways.
Yeah. Hard thing for Dark might be that there's no gold near his TC. He has one to the back a bit.
Yeah, that's true. Look in the north, north of Dark's house. Look underneath the boar. Dark forgot. He just lost a villager to that boar there. To the north of his TC, so he's got to send another Vil.
Oh.
And, yeah.
I see it.
That's a shocker, but it happens to the best of us, guys.
There's a few pixels in the ground there.
Oh, no.
As here comes Vil number 2.
His dock.
Oh, no.
His dock.
Vil number 2. She's losing HP.
Oh, God. What's happening? Dark. Please don't make a fire galley from there. You can see it's a pond. Make another dock. Oh, no. He's falling apart. He's got the perfect game plan. If he just would have looked. He's the perfect game plan, and he's just realized. Oh, boy.
Oh, and he docked the middle.
Yeah.
At least he knew not to dock near the TC, so he will scout it.
And
But at least he has fish there.
yeah,
He
that's
wanted
true.
to be forward making fires now.
Listen, so we have docks in the south end from Liereyy. So I want to double check Lierey's scouting. So Liereyy has not found the fish. And he has 3 docks in the south, and he is going to go 3 dock galleys. Now, 3 dock galleys should beat 1 dock fire galleys pretty easily. So I think Liereyy will be able to defend his fish on water. We'll see, obviously. But he might not be able to find Dark's fish in time, which could still mean that Dark, with his 7 fishing ships, could have a lot of food eco, head to Castle Age, and do a lot in there.
And one thing Liereyy won't be able to do is snipe those fish in the middle. There are 4 deep fish in that middle lake that Dark docked.
That's true.
So
yeah.
those will at least be safe from 3 dock galleys.
All right. Yeah, I'm not sure if my capture age is bugged. People are saying, is the UI bugged? I was thinking that something changed for me with capture age, but I wasn't certain. It's showing some of these texts at the very top left and the very top right for me instead of on the side. So for anyone looking at that on my end, I'm not sure why that's just happened, but it is there. It's just in a different position right now. So Lierey's
We have the
with
fire
galleys.
from Dark. A question for Liereyy then is how quickly does the blacksmith and fletching come in if he's going galleys? He's going for stone, so it looks like he wants some plumed archers
Yeah.
as his long-term plan heading to castle.
I also like this move. It's a great move on Nomad. Make some outposts, get some vision. Liereyy will know if there's anything coming on land. And he's probably not going to lose his fish, but he is investing a bit into water to defend it right now. Great defense there from Liereyy.
Nice
But-
fishing ship usage there to block the fire from hitting the galley.
Yep. Shoot, how do I fix this? Yeah, text that have been researched also isn't there. We might have to have a slight delay after this.
And do you have like a custom capture age version?
Yeah, I do. And yeah, it's now dawning on me that some of those things aren't in. That's super weird. I'll just restart it, but after this. So we won't have it for this game, but I'll deal with it in between games.
And here's Liereyy finding the fish of Dark in the north. So he now knows where all of those are.
Yep.
And Dark did have to move his dock down the coastline as he ran out of fish in the very north. And that does move them a bit closer for Liereyy to get his galleys around to harass. He'll clean up the dock in the south, and then it'll be a while until he gets to the fish, but he'll get there eventually. And that will be, in all likelihood, very nice and safe fish for Liereyy in the huge water in the south. That'll be a big fish boom for him.
This is like a nomad no. Getting wheelbarrow. There's no benefit to getting wheelbarrow right now. You have the resources to go up if you're Dark. And he even had the wood to make a second building, but he's made ships and he's making a dock instead. And I think that this timing could make all the difference here. Sure that he's going to want his building now, and Dark's still not placing that building. And Lierey's on the way to castle. Lierey's had his fishing ships. Liereyy has not really lost a unit this game, especially to a boar. And Lierey's going to be on stone for plumed archers, which is a dangerous, dangerous sign if you're Dark.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to be dealing with plumes. They're so mobile. They can hit your wood line, hit that gold that's far from your TC.
Yep.
And if you go into more defensive structures, mines are also a civ that can play that 1 TC, go imp, trip you down style.
Oh, look at the resources, man. 1,300 food, 800 gold. He's floating 1,000 resources over what he actually needs to be to Castle Age. This is very rare at a high level for Age of Empires 2. I almost think that he maybe believes he's clicked already. But no, there he goes. So
He clicks it now.
Wow.
And that can happen to you. Sometimes you end up clicking that button, and like you might just have like 798 food, and you click it, and it doesn't go, and you think you've gone up.
I think in this case, he desperately wanted to compete for water. So he's added all these docks and these fire galleys, but with that, didn't have the buildings. And it's just a different balance. Remember, this is Lierey's home map. And while we don't see Liereyy as the best Nomad player ever, he clearly has played very well here and surprised me even in some ways, adapting to this. And he drops a castle at home T West. He can play into defensive water measures. And this should be a decent time window here for Liereyy to get a big lead here.
Yeah, he has the castle. He is fletching. And he has more vills on stone still. So if he wants to, he can drop another TC.
Yep.
Or if he wants to, he can go heavy on the stone and go forward with the castle.
And Dark's only fishing ships are right down here near Liereyy on water. So you'd expect Liereyy to be able to compete for that. And plumed archers.
War galley on the way.
We saw crazy games with plumed archers this week. It's going to be even crazier if Lierey's controlling them, right? He's already an amazing micro player. All right, what's the plan
And
here for
look at
Dark?
the fish for Liereyy, 9 fishing ships, and they're all working very efficiently on these deep fish.
Yep. Yeah, great opening from him. Everything has been very smooth. For Dark, obviously, he didn't realize that there was a middle pond. That really hurt his attempts on water. But I think his, losing the villager to the boar and then his follow-up with the late Castle Age, all this has made him fall behind here. But he does kind of have more map coverage, you could say. So there's a chance that maybe with more gold and more stone... Oh, wait a second. What? Lierey's got eagles on the left? Whoa.
That's his Dockville. And Dockville just made a barracks.
Dang. Also, he's got vision everywhere. If you look at the map, outposts, houses, everything. We probably won't fully deny the TC, but even killing just a couple villagers here would be amazing. And remember, he is the fishing
the
control.
Have loom.
He is the plumes. Oh, God, Dark. And then there's plumed archers on the front as well.
The TC might even be denied. The TC is going to be close. It's at 80% now.
Yeah, this might be the end for Dark in Titans League, but also in this game. Liereyy just destroyed him here.
Yeah, TC goes up, but 46 to 27 vills.
Yep. Yeah, I don't need the eco icons on my screen to know that Liereyy is probably going to win this game. Yeah, I mean,
Knight doesn't have any armor on it, too.
What a creative job from Liereyy, though, this game. Seriously. He had to work really hard to kill the fishing ships. He has vision throughout over the entire map. He added eagles, which felt even unnecessary, right? He didn't need to do that, but he kind of felt like it would have been helpful. Found some kills there, while simultaneously making the plumed archers and pressuring through the middle, while simultaneously expanding his eco. So, we were correct to say that Liereyy, you got to be careful. You don't want to let a game slip here in game 3 and really struggle. But Liereyy looks strong. He now has 6 wins, and every single one of his rounds has been 2-1. So he has yet to sweep with MBL needing wins, and he'll have to play MBL. And then Yo at the top of the group right now wanting to get first. Liereyy will play them on Sunday. So I think a good round overall. Honestly, I think game 1 could have gone a little bit differently for Dark. He was so close to winning that one, and maybe that's the one that he'll really be kicking himself for. But I think he is now mathematically out of Platinum League, though I have to just double check that here in a second.